Working mom, she's on the go. How does she do it? We all wanna know. Laughs and good stories, lessons and fun. How does she do it all? So sit right down, you're in for a treat. A show full of heart that cannot be beat. Grab your coffee, stay for a while. How does she do it all? With Olivia, how wild.
Welcome to How Does She Do It All, the show where we shine a spotlight on fabulous single and solo moms and ask the age-old question, how does she do it all? So grab a cup of coffee, get comfy, and get ready for some real talk about motherhood and making it all work. And now, folks, let's get to today's guest star. We're here with Adrianne. Adrianne, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah. Hi, everybody. I'm Adrianne Wright. I am a mother to two girls, Lily, who's 7, and Violet, who's 3, and we live in a very cheerful spot in Brooklyn. I am a writer, activist, gatherer, space holder, and founder and CEO of Rosie. And we are a storytelling agency for nonprofits and people doing beautiful things in the world. And our specific focus is on narrative change and shifting the way stories are told in the press and in our culture about our most pressing issues. So there you have it.
You are one of the strongest people I know. I'm going to just say that for everybody listening. You have gone through a lot. You have been an open book about your story, and you are literally somebody that walks the walk about making change in this world. I'm thrilled to have you here today, and I know that your story is going to inspire a lot of people. So to get started, can you share a little bit about kind of how your journey to single motherhood came to be?
I was devastated. It happened so suddenly and so out of the blue. I think I was like one of those like Instagram families, like with the perfect feminist husband doing all the feminist things. And then it just fell apart. And my partnership of 12 years was just gone. And I was fucking heartbroken.
Yeah.
And I had these 2 really beautiful girls whose whole world completely turned upside down, and they are what kept me going. And I became sort of obsessed with this idea that I wasn't going to let myself fall. I had gone through so much trauma in my life, and I survived. And so if I survived that, I could survive this too. So I jumped head in doing the things that I knew that would bring me back home to myself. In the mornings, I would meditate, something I never really did. And then I would write whatever came to me during those meditations. I would sit in the park and I would read a chapter from Maggie Smith's memoir. It's her memoir. You can make this list such a great. I started going to hot yoga and practicing how to rely on my breath and everything around me felt chaotic. Of alcohol. I went to therapy twice a week. I went back to the old passions that I had before I had kids, which was theater and dancing, and just surrounded myself with friends and family, and I just let myself feel it. And then one day I just woke up and it didn't hurt so much. Definitely it comes back, but it didn't hurt as much.
Yeah.
And I realized that the more that you allow yourself to be more of who you are, and the more you can discover yourself, and you can start trusting this internal voice and designing a life that you actually want. And so when I look at parenting and how I parent now, we did a big focus on helping my girls understand how to develop their own recipes of peace, how to come back to who they are, how to live their most authentic life. And everything in life starts with how you care and love and you see yourself, which is something that kids do so well. In times of transition, we all need someone to help support us. And I remember during that time, in the early days, one of those folks for me was you.
Oh, thank you, Jane.
I always have you.
Oh, I appreciate that. I love everything you said. I have so many things, so many questions for you. Do you think that as somebody that has gone through past trauma, you had the tools to kind of jump right into the healing process a little bit?
I think I had the mindset to trust in life's timing, because the tools that I needed have shifted so much over time. I mean, the start of this divorce, I never meditated. I hated hot yoga. the thought of being in a room with hot, sweaty people, that was fucking disgusting.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there are things that worked for me before weren't working now.
Yeah.
And so it was really kind of giving myself a chance to rediscover what that was and just
Yeah.
throwing myself into different places and being very clear of like, what are the things that are for me and what are the things that are not for me? If this doesn't feel right, I'm not going to do
Yeah.
it. Hanging
Yeah.
out with this person is like really triggering. They're saying all the wrong things.
Yep.
Which
Yep.
people tend to do at the start
Oh
of the
yeah.
divorce.
Oh yeah.
You know, I'm not going to hang out with that person right now. So
Right.
it's being very clear about like, where is my energy being, where's my energy going toward?
Yeah.
How is my heart being taken care of? And who is actually holding my heart in the way that I need them to hold it at this time?
Oh, I love that. You know, something you said too, and I think we've talked about this too, is divorce is a trauma unlike anything else that you've been through. And I think that sometimes, even when you've been through past trauma, you don't realize what a trauma divorce will be like. Right. And from an outsider's perspective, it's like a legal thing, right? And you're like, oh, you have to get divorced. But it encompasses every single fucking part of your body and your mind and your soul and your life. Did you find that you were a little surprised by the trauma of divorce?
I was surprised by how much I had stayed in a narrative that didn't serve me.
Oh,
It never served me. This expectation of who I was, what I should be, and where I belong.
Yeah.
And it was as an activist and in my work, so much of what I do is helping people step out of those narratives
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
into a place of belonging to build
Yeah.
the world that we want to live in.
Right.
And here I was having had done that for the past 12 years
Yeah.
subconsciously.
Right.
And so it's interesting the inherited scripts that we carry that we don't really know until we're out of it. I mean, the world that we live in doesn't make it easy for us to have these like revelations.
Yeah.
What is actually happening. We are so focused on doing and surviving and trying to just make it day after day with lack of childcare, trying to make what build wealth. And we're all just trying to do our best and keep up. That we don't realize this box that we've been contained in.
Totally. Yeah.
And until you're actually released from it.
100%. And I love what you said about going back to dancing and theater. One of the suggestions I always give to people who come to me when they're going through a divorce is I say, go listen to the music you listened to when you were 15. Because that will connect you back to yourself. I mean, I think I listened to Sublime and Everclear like nonstop, right? And so like you do need to find who you were again. And that can be a scary journey for some people. But I love all of those modalities that you used to get back there. And I love that you talked about how that was part of your new parenting narrative was helping your girls. I love that you find the recipes. I think that was so great. So let's talk about being a single mom. What does a typical day look like for Adrianne and her girls? Like, how do you balance it all? You are a founder, you're a writer, what does it look like to live in Brooklyn with you three?
Yeah, it's interesting. My rituals have shifted over time because my definition of ritual shifted.
I love that.
When I was early into my divorce, I lived by a very big routine, spent the morning with my breath, close my eyes for a few minutes. I would pay attention to my breath, I'd say these affirmations, and I would journal. And then lately, my life, my energy has shifted. We're living in different times. It doesn't quite look like an early rise and right anymore. In fact, it's quite often not. It's about being very clear about what I need to nourish myself and creating pockets of time throughout the day where I can dip into it when I need to and when I want to. It's a moment to step outside with the sun on my face. It's reading a chapter in my book after I get my kids to school. It's this morning we were late. I was like bringing Lily to school and we had a silent dance party to Motown on the way, taking advantage of every moment that we have and finding the beauty in it. And I read this quote one time and I can't recall the person who said it. I will come back to that. But the quote was that rituals are the churches without walls.
I love that.
teens, it's a sacred practice that is both freeing and feeling. And when we try to force a ritual, we try to force routine, we try to control the outcome.
Yeah.
Try to control it. It's very hard to be present and feel and live and be our most authentic self that quite often holds us back. And so what a typical day looks like for me is being very clear about the things that I need to nourish myself, being flexible as life should be, to ebb and flow as you go with whatever's happening in the day.
I could literally talk about this forever with you. One of the things I found, because my kids were 3 and 5 when I separated, and now they're 8 and 11. So they were closer to your girl's age when we separated, is a couple of things. Number one, have you found that your relationship with them has gotten just profoundly deeper?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I went to a psychic a month.
You love a psychic, yeah.
The separation. And I was always nervous about going to a psychic because I was always afraid that they were going to tell me something that I didn't want to hear. But a friend had recommended him to me, and I was like, at that time, I was like, I will take anything that will give me some sort of direction right now.
Yeah.
And he said many things, Francisco, his name, said many, many things that was so meaningful and just mind blowing. But one of the things that he said to me that makes me cry thinking about it is at the end, he was like, you have flower girls. My girl's named Lily. You have flower girls, don't you? Yeah, I do. And he said, you're worried about them. I was like, yeah, I am worried about them. And he said, you don't need to worry, because at the end of this year, you are going to find that you're in such a much deeper and much more loving and connected relationship with them. And they are going to feel it. It is going to be magical for you. And this man had no idea what had happened in my life. But he was able to say that. And I don't know if it was the universe, or I don't know if I had that in my mind and I started building experiences thought, but I swear, Olivia, at the end of the year, we were making cinnamon rolls on Christmas Eve and listening to Billie Holiday, and it was just sweet. It was like nectar on honey, things that you hope life would be like.
I so get it. I love that. That makes me want to cry, because I so have been there with my kids, and I understand. And it's like that moment that you're like, this is the person I thought I was, right? Like, this is the person through the veil that I could see coming. This is the household I wanted. And what I really love too, and I didn't think about this until you said it, when you're a single mom and you don't have another partner to worry about, you often can take the time to really think about what your kids need in terms of nourishment, right? Mind, body, and soul. And so I found, like, I don't think I would be I know I wouldn't be the same mom at all, if I was married, but that I really get to know my kids as humans in a way that I don't think I would have gotten to know otherwise, and what they need, right, to nourish them. Because divorce is a process, right? And your kids are even my 8-year-old now is just understanding what divorce is, right? And we've been divorced 5 years. So it takes time sometimes. Really having that time. And I love what you said about rituals. I remember somebody asked me recently about meal times, and they said, oh, like, I can't get my kids to eat at the table, and it's like overwhelming. And I said, when I was going through my divorce and after, we ate and we would watch a movie together. And you know what? It was lovely. We would sit there on the couch, we would be together. And like, sometimes those rituals don't look like other people's rituals, but they're special. My kids and I watch Jeopardy every night, and it's like, that's our little church, right? That's what we do together. And I just love that, like, your rituals can change and they're so unique to your families, but they are important to have so your girls can have that.
I think often, whether you are an adult, a caregiver, or a child, when we look back on our memories, that it's less about what we did and more about how we felt. And so when we think about these rituals and what we're doing, if they feel connected and loved and safe, like, that is what they're going to bring to life.
Yeah.
It's what we all bring to life. Like, it's not going to be about we sat around the table and, said our gratitudes.
I love that. Okay. So for people listening, they're going to look at you and go, well, how does she do it all? Really? How do you do it all? So what are some of the time management techniques? What are your tricks here, Adrianne? Like, give us the insight. How does a single mom who runs an agency, who's a writer, who's a speaker, who's an activist, who has 2 thriving girls, how do you do it all?
How I do it all is that I don't do it all. Yeah, I think it's at first it's a mindset that you're not supposed to do it all. You're not built to do it all. You're not
Oh,
a robot. You're a human. This is not what life is for. So there's really no strategy or tool, but being very clear, one, on what are the 3 to 5 most important things that I need to accomplish this week. The world will not fall apart if you don't check everything off your list. If anything, will only add to it. And so I focus less on doing and more on being. I find that I have much more capacity in my head, in my heart, to take care of everything that needs to be taken care of. That also being said is that I am mindful of where my energy is. And this changes with different seasons. I'm a morning person. I know I'm most creative in the mornings. I know that I am much more productive. I also know that I burn out in the middle of the week. And so it's being very aware of what are those dips and what are those highs of my energy, and curating my schedule so that it is aligned to that. You know? So Wednesday mornings, I don't take any meetings. I know that I'm going to have that be my day, my morning of rest. Mondays, I know I'm my most creative. So those are my writing days,
right.
my memoir. So it's just being very clear about what that looks like. Because how many times have we tried to force ourselves to get things done? We're just so damn depleted.
Yeah.
Just don't have any energy at all. And it's such a time suck when you could actually be using a time to rejuvenate.
Oh, I love that. So speaking of that, what do you do for self-care? Like, and where do you find the time to do that?
Self-care. Self-care has fluctuated over time. I think that, I think it really goes back to what I was talking about before of being very clear about how to nourish yourself. Like, what are the pieces that make you feel whole? And this continuous coming back to yourself. I think lately it's about softening. I think so much of us are experiencing these edges of hate. And so I'm thinking a lot lately about how even as I fall, how I will land and what this landing will make of me, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
That despite like the hard grounds that I reach, like I can remain the soft thing. And that being soft could look like reading a chapter of Modern Love before bed, which I love. Going into a coffee shop to read something that comes up in mind. Watching my 7-year-old read to me her little sister. It's calling my mom and saying, love you. We have to think less about making time for it and more about listening to our bodies on when we need it. Because our bodies will tell us when it needs to happen. And I think
I love that. Okay. Have there been any like unexpected moments of joy going through this process, becoming a single mom, that you were like, oh, I didn't even know this was going to be part of my journey. And I love this.
Well, I think one, it's like, I can do this. I think after I had Violet, my second, and it's just like the trauma of C-section, not having paid leave, like all these things that happens to women. I had a lot of anxiety about caring for 2 of my kids by myself.
Yeah.
Like it just felt like I just had so much postpartum anxiety that I was like, oh, can I carry Violet at the same time? And what if Lily's having a tantrum and I have all this stuff to carry? Like, how do I do this? And little by little, doing things on my own, started building confidence and grace and compassion and just fun. That I realized I don't need a partner to do this with. Like I could do this by myself. And it's actually really incredibly rewarding to be able to have these moments with my girls and create these memories that are mine. That's mine.
Totally.
And then 2, I think knowing that I can practice living the life that I want to live on my own terms and have my practicing.
Yes.
I think a beautiful life isn't stumbled upon, it's chosen and it's built. And how we live our days is how we live our lives. And this is how we mother.
I love that. I'm going to like clip that out and listen to it over and over again. I think that is so beautifully said. So that being said, what are some misconceptions that you would like to take this platform and rewrite the narrative on single motherhood for anybody that's listening to this?
And it's going to be okay. The hard truth is that your child's blueprint for love and conflict and respect often comes from, marriage, from
Yeah.
This is also how we grew up. Our sons repeat it and our daughters accept it. And it's up to you to raise your standard. It's up to you to live the life that you want and that you can break away from a life that has run its course. The time is up. And to now live a life full of what can be.
100%. I love that. And it is the blueprint, right? And it is like, would you want your child in a relationship like the one you were in or not, right? And like children see everything, they hear everything, right? So we have to keep that in mind. Okay, Adrianne, so looking ahead, what are your hopes for you and the girls? What are you guys looking forward to for the future?
I've been thinking about this a lot lately because there's just so much happening in the world and so much that's been impacted with my work specifically.
Yeah.
And I keep thinking that it's about continuing to build a life that has peace and love and care and community and justice at the center. It's not easy to stay focused on what you need to do. Like the world's not make it very easy to not be distracted. And I think a lot of it has been about making time to listen to myself, being present with my feelings, working a lot on my self-talk, and knowing that the range of emotions that we experience, and I tell this to my girls too, is that is the full range of human emotion. That's our full range of human experience. And how do you turn the weight of it into an anchoring to make your own recipe of peace? That's kind of where I'm at right now, is just learning how to continue to be soft and practice living the life that we want.
I don't know. I could listen to you speak all day. So maybe this is your future, is just becoming a motivational speaker, because you just
thank you.
you say things so beautifully. You're just like so poetic. Well, Adrianne, we are so happy that you stopped in today, and we thank you so much for sharing your journey. Where can people follow you? How can they get in touch if they would like more info?
Yeah, they can follow me on Instagram. I'm at Adrianne, ADRIANNE_Wright, WRIGHT. If you're interested in following Rosie, our storytelling agency, the Instagram handle is think.rosie.
I would say go give her a follow, because she's always sharing some really beautiful behind the scenes of your beautiful life with your girls. And I'm just so thrilled that we've been connected for many years, and I'm so happy to see you on this side of things and loving your life, and you're literally glowing. So, I'm just very proud of you. And I know that other women are going to listen to this, and your sense of peace and joy and calm is going to be just really inspiring, because you are the model for what people look for when they're going through that shithole of divorce. So thank you for being you. And to our audience, thank you for helping us answer the age-old question, how does she do it all? Remember to rate, review, and subscribe to the show so we can keep celebrating single and solo motherhood. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of How Does She Do It All? If you loved this conversation, be sure to check out freshstartsregistry.com to learn more. Our theme music is provided by Matthew Searing, with additional vocals by Jackie, Cheryl, and Jackson Searing. And remember, you are doing an amazing job. Keep showing up, keep embracing the journey, and we'll see you next time.